Is it possible to lose all your unwanted body fat without counting calories? Absolutely. In this video, I'm going to show you 10 tips on exactly how. These are the exact same tips that I give to all my students, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. So you know it works. Before we get started, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell to get notified every time I post a new video every week. First things first, you need to understand the method to this madness. Otherwise, I'm just another jerk spewing out bro science. There's more than enough of those people on the internet. These tips and strategies that I'm about to give you revolves around moderating the hormone insulin. A lot of experts, people that are way smarter than me, consider it to be the master hormone. Why? Because it's the hormone that controls your body weight. Listen, any weight loss strategy that doesn't take hormones into account is a fool's errand. If you hear some jabroni say that it's all about the calories, you just need to be on a calorie deficit, that person is somewhat right, but is missing the bigger picture. You won't achieve long-term sustainable results without factoring in hormones. You just won't. Calories matter, but hormones are more important. And yes, there are other hormones that come into play like cortisol, testosterone, leptin, ghrelin, and estrogen, for example, but the big player here is insulin. All you really need to know is that every time you eat, assuming that it's a blend of carbs, fat, and protein, your insulin goes up. Your body goes into fat storage mode to store all the nutrients from the foods you just ate. That's not necessarily a bad thing. And out of all three macronutrients, carbs, specifically refined carbs, and sugar spike insulin the most. I want you to remember that. Your body can also only be in two states. It's either you're storing fat or you're burning fat. You can't do both at the same time. You can't do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Some jabroni out there thinks otherwise though. Those are the ones that I always see in the comments. Oh, so you're breaking the law of physics? Well, that argument really only works if the human body is a closed system. It's not. It's an open system. Going back to insulin, again, every time you eat, your insulin goes up. When insulin is high, you cannot access your almost unlimited fat stores and burn it for energy. You just can't. It gets locked away, and insulin is the key. So high insulin blocks lipolysis. Lipolysis means fat burning. The good news is the reverse is also true. When insulin is low, fat stores gets released and you're now able to use it for energy. Lipolysis is turned back on, insulin is the switch. Are you with me so far? So if you want to turn your body into a fat burning machine, but most importantly, maintain your results, then you really want to focus on insulin. The tips I'm about to give you revolves around the premise of doing just that, to keep it moderated, because your weight loss results, your overall health, and longevity revolves around the amount of insulin your body has to produce over your lifetime. Let's start with a big one. Stop snacking. I'm a firm believer that what you stop doing has far more impact to your health than what you start doing. This is addition by subtraction. Like back in the 60s, snacking was never a thing. We ate 3 square meals a day and that was it. We also didn't have an obesity epidemic. Seriously, ask your grandma if she ate snacks when she was young. She'll most likely say no because it'll ruin your appetite. Fast forward to today and we've completely gone the opposite way. It's now common knowledge to snack in between meals. We're so scared of being hungry, and we're also now in the midst of an obesity epidemic. Go figure. Here's the truth about snacking. It is literally one of the worst things you can do if you're trying to lose fat. If you're trying to put on weight, by all means, go snack. Again, that's why it was important that we talked about how your body reacts to food physiologically at the beginning. This isn't just bro science. Every time you eat again, your insulin goes up. Your body shifts into fat storing mode. When you're not eating in between meals, it allows insulin to dip back down, which then allows you to tap into your almost unlimited fat stores and burn it for energy. So if you're snacking constantly in between meals throughout the day, you're constantly getting those little insulin spikes. Your body never gets a chance to use your fuel reserve, aka fat stores, for energy. You're basically in fat storing mode all day. The other problem with snacking is we don't really snack on the healthiest stuff. We snack on chips, cookies, crackers, trail mix, flavored yogurt, granola bars, and protein bars, which are all extremely insulinogenic foods because they're extremely processed to go along with their high sugar content. But in order to cut out snacks, it's important that you eat enough of the right types of foods until you're completely satiated, which leads me to tip number 2. Prioritize protein. The amino acids in protein are the building blocks that your body uses to build and maintain muscle. It's essential that you eat enough of it every day if you want to be a healthy and happy human being. Protein is also the most satiating macronutrient. It specifically activates the satiety hormone peptide YY or PYY. If you eat enough of it, it's basically going to eliminate snacking because you won't be hungry in between meals. Plus, it's delicious. The amount you need depends on a variety of things, including your activity level or if you're pregnant, for example. But the general rule is you want to eat 0.8 grams per pound of lean body mass. The best source of protein is from animals because of its bioavailability. Eggs, meat, and some dairy should be staples in your diet. Number 3, don't go out of your way to eat fat. Okay, I'm not saying that you should avoid fat. Fat is essential to the human body, but protein and fat usually go hand in hand. If you eat meat, for example, it's naturally going to contain fat along with protein. Same thing with eggs, but this is what a lot of people miss out on. If you have a lot of body fat and you want to lose it, would you rather get your fat from the foods you eat, or would you rather get it from your butt, thighs, and belly? Do you see what I mean here? So don't go out of your way to add tablespoons of MCT oil in your coffee, or going to town on avocados, or eating sticks of butter to get enough fat from your diet. Use your own body fat instead. Number 4, don't use low-fat dairy. Fat makes you fat, right? Nope. This fat phobia really started when counting calories became a thing. Because fat is calorically dense, we started avoiding it. Food manufacturers took advantage of this and started rolling out low-fat dairy as a healthier option. The problem is, there's absolutely nothing healthy about low-fat dairy. In fact, it's so much worse for you. Because when food manufacturers make dairy low-fat, they have to replace fat with something else, and that something else is sugar. Like, next time you go to the grocery store, compare any low-fat dairy to its full-fat counterpart. The low-fat version will usually contain more sugar. It's also gone through an extra level of processing. The more processing your food goes through, the worse it is for you. Plus, low-fat dairy usually tastes like butt. Never eat low-fat dairy. Always go for the real deal. Because eating fat does not make you fat, just like eating cholesterol does not raise your cholesterol levels. Your body is self-regulating. It makes its own cholesterol, for crying out loud. If anything, if you're not eating enough fat, you're probably fat. My go-to full-fat dairy options are Greek yogurt and cheese. I mean, who doesn't like cheese? Just make sure you don't go to town on it. Remember tip number 3. Number 5, don't eat starch for breakfast. If you're a full-grown adult and you're still eating cereal, you should probably start reevaluating your dietary choices. But for some reason, oatmeal gets a free pass as a healthier option. I wanted to bring that up specifically because I was talking to my aunt the other day, and her doctor told her to eat oatmeal for breakfast to help with her blood sugar levels. I was like, what? That makes no sense. Why would he tell you that? But I always say that there are levels to this. If you compare cereal to oatmeal, then yeah, I guess it's the better option, but it doesn't make it optimal. For example, oatmeal, because it's mostly carbs, causes a huge spike in insulin. It doesn't matter that it's slow digesting. I mean, a piece of cardboard is also slow digesting. Oatmeal is also made out of oats, which contains a lot of anti-nutrients. If you've never heard of anti-nutrients before, I'm gonna link to one of my videos where I explain it in further detail. But basically, anti-nutrients are compounds found in foods that interfere with the absorption of beneficial nutrients and minerals. Eating a steady source of anti-nutrients can lead to digestive problems including GERD, IBS, IBD, or it's more commonly known as leaky gut, as well as thyroid problems and autoimmune disease like Hashimoto. It causes inflammation, arthritis, and brain fog. Plus, oatmeal and other types of starchy grain-based food in general contain very little protein and little to no fat. It's not satiating at all. Notice how you're always hungry come mid-morning after a starchy breakfast? Your best options? Eggs and bacon all day, baby. Speaking of eggs, if you want to lose all your unwanted body fat without counting calories, eggs should be a staple in your diet. Shawn Baker, for example, he's big on the carnivore diet space, eats close to 100 eggs every day, and he looks like that. Why? Because eggs, pound for pound, is one of the most nutritious foods on the planet. It contains 13 vitamins and minerals, including hard-to-get vitamins like lutein and choline, which are essential for your eyes and brain. It's basically nature's version of a multivitamin. Eggs also contain fat and protein, which is going to activate your satiety hormones and keep your insulin levels moderated. It's basically the perfect keto/carnivore diet food. Plus, it's delicious. But if you want more proof why eggs should be a staple in your diet, predators will literally put their lives at stake to eat a bird's egg, for example, because they inherently know how nutritious it is. Number 7, eat a lot of non-starchy vegetables. Fiber is the last piece of the puzzle in terms of satiety because it activates that stretch mechanism in your stomach. Now, what types of food naturally contain fiber? Vegetables. But not all vegetables are created equal. You want to avoid starchy vegetables like peas, potatoes, and corn because they'll trigger a high insulin response. Instead, you want to eat green, leafy vegetables, specifically cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and asparagus, for example. They're very low in carbs, they contain some protein, but more importantly, they contain fiber, which checks all the criteria when it comes to activating satiety. Number 8, don't abuse artificial sweeteners. Yes, stevia and Swerve, for example, are better sweetener options than sugar. But just like the oatmeal versus cereal comparison, it doesn't make it optimal for your health because artificial sweeteners still trigger an insulin response, specifically the cephalic phase insulin response, or CPIR. Your body will still think that you're about to eat something. In fact, whenever my students hit a weight loss plateau, I usually ask them if they're still using artificial sweeteners or they're drinking diet soda. The moment they take it out of their diet, they start losing fat again. Just remember that nothing that sweet gets a free pass once it enters your body. It doesn't matter that it's 0 calories. You can't trick your body. Your body doesn't count calories anyway. Number 9, limit your fruit intake. I always like to say that there are levels to this. If you replace Doritos with fruit, then yeah, it's the better option. But again, it doesn't make it optimal. Fruit is basically nature's version of candy. You should consider it more as a treat. A lot of people give fruit a health halo because of its natural sugar. That doesn't really mean anything. Your body can't really tell the difference between natural sugar once it enters your system. In fact, fructose, the type of sugar found in fruit, is known to be extremely lipogenic. Lipogenic means it's fattening because your liver has to process it first and turn it to glucose to become usable energy. If you really want to eat fruit, only eat fruits that are in season. Number 10, no liquid calories. This again falls in line with my first concept of addition by subtraction. If you want to lose fat without counting calories, then it really only makes sense to only consume drinks that naturally contain 0 calories like water, fizzy water, black coffee, or tea. That's it. Don't make this hard for yourself. Liquid calories like pop, juice, energy drinks, and the likes have 0 redeeming qualities. They do more harm than good, and this includes alcohol. It's literally poison in your body. Beer might be the worst alcoholic offender because it also contains carbs. It's basically liquid bread. They don't call it a beer belly for nothing. Number 11, I'm gonna give you a bonus one because I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. This might be my most powerful tip. Like, if we all adapted this, we'd be a much leaner and healthier society. This, to me, is the epitome of what you stop doing has far more impact to your health than what you start doing. Incorporate intermittent fasting into your daily routine. I have mentioned this eating strategy ad nauseum on my channel, so if you're new to the concept, make sure you check out all my other videos about it. But if you want to lose fat without counting calories, then it really only makes sense to just not consume any calories. You should use the time that gets freed up from taking a break from eating and exercise instead. From a physiological standpoint, you're not eating when you fast, which means your insulin stays low and you can just tap into your built-in fat burning mechanism for energy. As you can see, it's entirely possible to lose fat without ever counting calories. You just need to make some or a few lifestyle changes. The next question then becomes, how are you actually supposed to eat if you want to lose weight? Because here's the thing, 80% of your body composition is determined by your diet. You can't just freestyle this part. Do you have a proven plan that you can follow? To help you with that, I want to give you a free copy of my Lean Body Blueprint. This is how I melted all the fat around my stomach without depriving myself of my favorite foods or wasting hours at the gym. It's a simple 4-step process specifically designed for busy professionals, and it's the exact same blueprint that I teach to all my private coaching clients, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. If you want to be the next success story, then download your free copy of the Lean Body Blueprint right now. There's going to be a link somewhere at the top here or in the description box. Just click on it, type in your email, and I'll send it to you right away. All right, that's all I've got. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and share it with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I post a new video every week. And hey, leave a comment below if you have any questions about this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. First, a high five.